Follow us on an exhilarating 4-day biking and hiking adventure along one of New Zealand's official great cycling trails, journeying through the stunning Southern Alps and alpine lakes featured in the Lord of the Rings films. We start in Kingston, following the historic railway route to Five Rivers, crossing suspension bridges and riding through scenic farmland. Weeks later, I return with Reese to complete the trail. After indulging in local venison pies, we set off from Mossburn, gradually climbing into the mountains, and camp by the iconic Mavora Lakes at a renowned Lord of the Rings filming location. Joined by friends, we take a break to hike around South Mavora Lake, surrounded by majestic beech trees and serene alpine views. A perfect day of relaxation before our final challenge. On the last day, we faced the toughest part of the trail, riding from South Mavora Lake to Walter Peak Farm. Battling strong winds, we descend into breathtaking valleys, finishing at the glacial Lake Wakatipu, and sail back to Queenstown on the historic TSS Earnslaw. Join us on this unforgettable adventure along New Zealand's Around the Mountains Trail, featuring the breathtaking Mavora Lakes. Okay, so we are driving along Lake Wakatipu, which is the third largest lake in New Zealand by surface area. It's actually the longest lake. It's 80 kilometers long, or roughly about 48 miles long. It is a beautiful lake, and we're going to be taking a very scenic drive in a moment over an area known as the Devil's Staircase. At the head of the lake is a town called Kingston, and we're about to do one of the great cycling trails of New Zealand. So it is a multi-day trail. It's actually a 5-day trail. We're going to plan to do the first section of it today, which is from Kingston to a place called Five Rivers. Roughly about 50 kilometers, or just under 50 kilometers. That's the plan for today. So we're going to meet Francesco and Anna down at Five Rivers, and then we'll take one vehicle back to Kingston, and we'll complete the first part of one of the great cycling trails of New Zealand. Looking forward to it. So we're at the start of the Around the Mountains cycling trail here in the historic town of Kingston. The history of Kingston goes back to the gold rush of the 1860s. This is where the passengers coming from Invercargill would make their way to the central Otago gold fields. The actual train that was implemented here, the Kingston Flyer itself, was actually built just after the gold rush, so that was in the 1890s. It was used to basically take passengers on an express service all the way to Invercargill. So we're going to follow part of that line today. The only part that's remaining is the section to a little place called Fairlight, and that's because it basically went bankrupt in the 1930s after the road was built here during the Depression. As of 3 years ago now, I think, they've been operating the Flyer ever since, I believe during the summer times.
The Around the Mountains cycling trail began in 2012 and opened its first section in 2014. Repurposing old railway lines, the trail offers stunning South Island scenery, with its final section, completed in 2016, passing landmarks like Lake Wakatipu and Mavora Lakes.
We've made our way up our first hill from Kingston, which is actually a moraine. So it's basically the debris that's been pushed up by the glaciers that sat down here in the Wakatipu Basin during the last glacial maximum about 18,000 years ago. All the rubble that's been pushed up has formed this hill. The lake level itself of Lake Wakatipu used to actually drain off through the valley, or the flats that we're about to go through, known as the Fairlight Flats. What we're about to ride through right now is actually an old lake bed.
We passed the ruins of Trotter's homestead, dating back to the 1800s, which once served as a stop for gold miners during the region's gold rush, providing a glimpse into pioneering history.
So we're at the old historic Fairlight station right here on the Around the Mountains cycling trail. As I mentioned earlier, the old Kingston Flyer train now currently finishes up here at the Fairlight station. So this is the southernmost point of the line. Back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, the line went all the way to Invercargill and back. It was an express service, and this would have been one of the small stops along the way. Mainly on the weekend service, I believe. They did a stop here and also in Garston, where we're going next. So we'll see the old railway station in Garston as well. And you might remember the old Crunchy ad where there was a train robbery, and there's a couple of really nice aerial shots of the Fairlight Flats that we just went through there. So I'd highly recommend checking that out. It's a Cadbury, I believe, crunchy bar. So if you haven't tried one already, it's amazing. Honeycomb and chocolates. So we're going to continue on to Garston now, and that's going to be the next stop on our journey.
Nevis Road, constructed in the 1860s to access gold-rich Nevis Valley, was vital for miners. Today it offers scenic views that reflect the region's challenging history.
We don't actually have states here in New Zealand, we have regions. So we started off in the region of Otago, and now we're in the southernmost region known as Southland. Southland has the least populated density in the whole country, and this is a great example of it, the town here of Garston. So the town of Garston is a very, very small but a typical town for Southland here. There's only a couple of hundred people living in the town, or the farming community itself, and it has the claim to fame of being the most inland township in all of New Zealand, furthest geographically from the ocean. Now, you kind of need two things to qualify as being a town in these parts. One is a school, which is just up on the other side of town, and the other is a pub. So we have the Garston Hotel over here. So a typical township. Oh, and also a honey store. And who better to sell your honey than this guy? Behind me we've got the Garston station from the old Kingston Flyer when the line used to run down this way. We're going to go past some of the hop farms soon as well. This is the other thing that Garston is known for, which is its great hops for our great beer.
Marston and Athol, we reached the Mavora River bridges, built in the early 1900s to support transport in the region. Recently reconstructed, these bridges now accommodate the cycling trail, connecting adventurers with Southland's landscapes. On to the next bridge! Arriving in Athol, established during the gold rush in the 1860s, we see its roots in the Scottish heritage of settlers who sought fortune in the scenic area.
We've just done a little bit of a lunch break here in the town of Athol, which is actually known as the trout capital of New Zealand and also one of the best trout fishing places in the world, apparently. The next 2 hours we are heading to Five Rivers. When I say we, I actually mean me, because these guys are going to chill out here. They were kind of struggling a little bit getting through, and one of us has to volunteer the rest of the way, so looks like it's me.
Parawa tea rooms, established in the 1920s, provided a cosy stop for travellers in Southland. Nearby, the now abandoned town of Nakomai once thrived during the gold rush. Little remains of this once booming township. The Jolly Wagoners Hotel, established in 1864, was once a popular stop, offering travellers in Southland meals amidst stunning rural scenery. Nearby, the towering mid-dome showcases Southland's pastoral heritage.
Check out this, all the deer are running with me. That is so cool!
I cross into Five Rivers, founded in the 1860s as a supply point for gold miners. Named after the convergence of Five Rivers, it preserves the region's agricultural history that continues until this day.
Okay, I finally arrived back at Five Rivers, 49.5 kilometers. It's been a tough day, but the last section was stunning, absolutely amazing. So the goal is at some stage to do the final part of the Around the Mountains cycling trail from Mossburn to Walter Peak Farm down on Lake Wakatipu. Alright, so we've just passed Five Rivers, which is where I finished my cycling trail a few weeks ago, doing the first part of the Around the Mountains from Kingston to Five Rivers. I'm here with Reese. Reese and I are about to accomplish the last section of the Around the Mountains trail, which will be 2 days of cycling and 1 day of leisure down at Mavora Lakes. We're going to start off in a little town called Mossburn, known as the deer capital of New Zealand. We're going to have one of the famous venison pies at the Bracken Hall in Mossburn, and then we're going to head down to Mavora Lakes tonight, where we'll camp overnight and spend tomorrow with some of our friends, with Miranda, Francesco and his partner Anna, and chill out at Mavora Lakes, so it should be a good ride.
Oh, look at that.
Thank you.
Oh, what do you think? Venison pie. Oh, it's got like a plum sauce or something. Venison pies.
It's vegan.
What do you think of those pies, Reese? That plum sauce?
It's amazing. It's nice and spicy. It's really good.
And this one's, what is it, lemon and cream cheese. Nice one.
Okay, highly recommended.
All right, so that was the Bracken Hall. We had one of their famous venison pies, which I would regard as the #1 thing to do in Mossburn. But according to TripAdvisor, this stag statue right here is the #1 thing to do in Mossburn. So yes, we have ticked this off our bucket list right here. This is what Reese is going to bag, hopefully, tomorrow. He's brought along his rifle, so we'll see if we can get some tasty fresh venison down there at Mavora Lakes. Deer farming is kind of an interesting thing here in New Zealand. In this area, we have a lot of deer farming, and it kind of goes back to the days when the British brought in the red deer in 1851 for the good old-fashioned sport of hunting and killing. And they brought along the deer and let them breed out in the wilderness, and it created a big dramatic sort of catastrophe, an ecological catastrophe here in New Zealand. So in the 1970s, the New Zealand government essentially started putting bounty on deer, and were paying hunters to go out and reduce their numbers, which was quite effective. The hunters soon realized, however, that there was more money to be made in the meat and the pelts and the velvet on the antlers of the deer than actually from the bounty they were collecting from the government. So they decided going about rounding up the deer and putting them into farms. So we are just about 5-minute drive outside of Mossburn. We're about to start the Around the Mountains cycling trail, at least the end part of the Around the Mountains cycling trail. So we'll be heading up to Mavora Lakes from here. Should be about a 5-hour ride today. So we're gradually making our way uphill, and then we'll go out to the beautiful Mavora Lakes and just enjoy that for tomorrow. Let's do it, Reese.
Sun's out.
Continuing from Mossburn, we bypass a section of the official trail. From Five Rivers, the trail continues via Lumsden, running parallel to the highway. We opted to skip this section and spend an extra day at the Mavora Lakes instead. Amidst the tranquil rural scenery, a young lamb in trouble catches our attention. Reese quickly jumps the fence to investigate.
So a little bit of a damper in the mood. We've seen a baby lamb that's got a broken leg down here at Centre Hill Station. We've just contacted the station manager, and he can't get down here right now, and Reese has offered with a little bit of empathy that you know, if he needs us to, we can put the lamb down. So the station manager said, yeah, go ahead. You know, obviously it's not an easy decision to make, but the thing's suffering and in pain and obviously won't recover from this. So
So it looks like the path has collapsed here into the Oreti River. Alright mate, we'll get going in a sec. Heading up to Center Hill Road. This way. Alrighty guys, we'll catch you later. Good luck with your journey. So we're on Center Hill Road right now. We're making our way up to Mavora Lakes. This is the same road that the cars will take. Whew, some of these hills are pretty strong. Sharing the gravel road with vehicles is tough on a bike. However, the road is less bustling than it once was. Center Hill, established in the 1850s as a pastoral settlement, became a stagecoach stop in 1862, facilitating travel and trade. Okay, so we've just come down from Center Hill Road and we're about halfway on our journey for today. How's it been so far, Reese?
Very good, man.
Magic. Had this beautiful tailwind, easterly, which is surprising. We don't normally get easterlies through here, and it's kind of just been behind us the whole way. Now we're about to hit onto Mavora Road, which will lead up to the saddle that then turns off to the Mavora Lakes. So we're just sort of stopping, having a little rest and admiring some of this countryside scenery. So that's what we call a Southland traffic jam, right back there. How's the ride been so far, Reese?
Bloody good, mate. This wind, the fact that it's behind us. Normally, if I was recommending someone to do this, I'd say do it the other way. But we've just been so lucky with the wind today.
It's been great. It has been great. Although the uphill has been very gradual. The last couple of hours or so, it's just been this constant slug uphill. So good to actually finally get some downhill. We've stopped just up here because there's actually a location behind us there from the Lord of the Rings films. And if anyone gets a chance to check out some of my older videos, we came here a couple of years ago and did a video of Doubtful Sound and Mavora Lakes on our way back. And did a couple of really top grade acting reenactments of some of these locations, so you can check that out. But essentially what was shot behind us here is from the second film, The Two Towers. After the big battle the night before with the men of Rohan and the Uruk-hai that have kidnapped Merry and Pippin, we have Legolas, Aragorn and Gimli stopped up here at the foot of Fenghorn Forest. We're going to head down into Mavora Lakes now. We should be getting to our campsite within the next hour or so, I'd like to hope.
Hopefully we beat the others.
Hopefully. They're on their way. The others are on their way as well, so...
So we've reached the South Mavora Lake, which is behind me here, and our goal is still just in the distance down there. We're reaching the North Mavora Lake. We are at a point right now where there's a swing bridge, and it showcases another scene from Lord of the Rings, so from the Fellowship of the Ring, where the Fellowship are leaving Lothlorien and they're making their way to the Andun River.
Mavora Lakes are a haven for outdoor enthusiasts. Known for the Lord of the Rings filming locations, their stunning scenery attracts visitors and adventurers alike. Here we join up with our Queenstown crew for a camping adventure of our own. After arriving at our favourite spot on North Mavora Lake, we set up camp.
Okay, so Reese has just jumped in the water and I'm gonna wash off some of this dust. What do you say, Reese? How's the water?
Don't do it, man.
Don't do it. That's encouraging. So, quick Lord of the Rings recap. This is where Frodo and Sam lead the Fellowship, and I'm going to reenact Sean Astin's Sam by running in the water and probably, hopefully not drowning. We'll see. Look at that. What a beautiful spot. So after Reese's encouraging words, I'm actually really nervous. Oh God. Yes, like holy shit. Where's my part? It's submerging. Woo! So, not so Samwise Gamgee. I felt a little bit more like Gollum in there. It burns as it does. This morning we are doing a walk, so we are doing the South Mavora Lake Loop. We're actually doing one way, so we've parked the car down the southern end, and we're heading north now, back up to the North Mavora Lake where we've camped overnight. In this forest we've got a mixture of silver beech here. This is the ones with the white or silver coloured spots, and then we've got some of these big massive red beech trees which are quite impressive. They were actually prized by the Europeans when they arrived here back in the early 1800s for timber. What do you think, the cheeky? Pretty cool?
Oh, it's stunning here.
It's really, really nice and serene. We've got such a still and calm morning. It's already starting to get warm. We are at the very top end of the South Mavora Lake. So we're about to make our way up along the river to the North Mavora Lake where we camped.
The Mavora Lakes are filled with bird life, both native and non-native. Canada geese have established a strong presence since 1905, while the native paradise shelduck, known for its striking colors, has been protected since the 1950s.
What a day for it, hey? So it reads like, all right. Cracker of a day. Cracker of a day, you got it.
New Zealand's vast, empty, and wild spaces offer a connection to nature and the past, where the Maori roamed these largely unchanged areas for 800 years.
Tell us about the heli fishing.
So it's a new adventure activity. So heli fishing, so fishing from a helicopter. So you're in the helicopter and it just basically hovers above the water. And then you see a trout swimming down through the water. You just dive on.
Yeah, just jump in. Yeah.
So that's like, what do they call it when they did that with the pigs and stuff like that? Bulldogging.
Bulldogging, that's with the deer, where they jump out and wrestle the deer.
So you bulldog with the fish.
Kind of the same with a trout. And
like bullfishing?
Yeah.
you need to get up a good amount of speed, so the helicopter needs to be at least at 100 metres in the air so that you can build up enough speed.
Like
just
a
take
bird.
it out.
That's a great idea.
Exactly.
Invest all of your money in it.
And this person's done it with the line, so they've thrown the line in and, great idea. Free Reese's invention.
On our return to camp, the quiet was interrupted by the roar of fighter jets soaring through the valleys, echoing the chaos amidst the tranquil scenery in scenes from The Lord of the Rings. Reese does his best Urukai impression, looking for Francesco, our Frodo, hiding behind the same tree from the film.
Frodo, over here!
After all the excitement, we took a quick afternoon nap before saying farewell to our group, packing up and moving on. Okay, so we have our campsite for the night here. We're on the South Mavora Lakes, so we've switched lakes and we're a little closer to our ride out for tomorrow. Beautiful views out here, look at this. Absolutely magical, and we're getting close to sunset right now. I think Reese has just ducked out to grab a couple of extra bits of firewood, and we're gonna chill here for the night. So we're roasting venison sausages. We've just boiled them. And here are some we prepared earlier. Golden. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we had a pretty eventful night last night. After setting up at the campfire and having a little dinner, Reese spotted in the binoculars a red deer down in the distance there and took off. I was here waiting about 2 or 3 hours thinking, oh my God, what happened to this guy? Am I going to have to go looking for him?
I chucked the rifle in the backpack, head up the road, managed to scope myself a nice little spot in the bush, sitting at about 180, I reckon. Then, popped the shell right through his heart, dropped like a stone. Then so I had to head up on the bike right up to the top of the river, up to the bridge, back down to that clearing. I didn't really want to cross the river on my own.
With your butcher set?
With my butcher set.
Johnny Rambo over here.
And so it was getting a bit dark by this stage, so I sat there butchering this thing up. Managed to get back here by about
Just under
midnight. About 50 kilos of meat. It was a bloody big stag, so I got both the back legs and the back straps.
Now he's going to carry it back when he's back.
Came to the realisation that there's absolutely no space in my pack to get this thing back, so good old Nick over here, he's they're heading up to Walter Peak Station later on this afternoon, so he's going to drop it down at the Earnslaw for us.
Then we're going to carry this bloody sack onto the classy vintage steamship.
They don't need to know what's in the sack, mate. We'll just say we're clearing some rubbish up out of the valley, doing our bit for nature.
What's in the bag? What's in the bag?
I tell you what, mate, trying to get it into that backpack and riding back along the road with that thing was tough. There's a lot of weight in that thing. It was a bloody big animal.
Yeah, I heard like heavy panting just as I was falling asleep, and I heard this heavy panting. I'm like, what the hell is that? Is that some sort of creature outside the tent? Our plan now is to continue and complete the Around the Mountains cycling trail, so we're going to head down to Walter Peak Farm. Hopefully if we get there a little bit early, we might be able to have a celebratory beer or two. Not that we didn't already have some. And a swim. Oh yeah,
That'd be
that's
nice.
Right. Yeah, so big day ahead. Let's do it. So we're about to head down into the Iron Mountains Conservation Park, and we've got some pretty strong headwinds, so it's going to be a tough slog up to Von Hill. And once we get up there to the top of the hill, the highest point of the trail, we'll have some lunch. In the distance, we spot Bullock Creek Hut, a vital shelter from the early 1900s for settlers and mustering teams. Further down the road, South Von Hut, built in 1964 for deer culling, now provides a rustic retreat near Mount Nicholas Station. So we're here at the beautiful South Von Hut on the Mount Nicholas Station, and the view is spectacular. It's been a real punishing 2.5 hours, basically making our way uphill. We reached the pinnacle, which is just right behind us here at 705 meters, and the majority of the ride is going to be back down. We've still got another 38 kilometers to go, so once we got off the Mavora track and got onto the main road, we had 50 kilometers. So it's still quite a ride to go, but at least most of it's downhill. And we're having a well-earned lunch. How's your curry, Reese?
Amazing. Really good.
On our ride to Von Hill, we see Jane Peak in the distance. Standing at 2,022 meters, it is Southland's highest peak outside of Fiordland, which was shaped by tectonic and glacial forces during the last ice age. The descent down Von Hill was the most exhilarating part of the entire journey. So we just came down from Von Hill, which was really steep and crazy, and some of those like strong headwinds that we're getting, giving us kind of death wobbles. We've still got a fair while to go. We've still got another 26 Ks or so, we're gonna really hit the road hard. Reaching the top of the pass into Mount Nicholas Station, we gaze upon the glacial blue waters of Lake Wakatipu, or Whakatipu as it may have been named, appearing as a vast bay to the migrating Maori people. How's that, Reese?
I'm not sitting down because if I do, I won't be able to get back up, man.
Pretty tough. We've just come over. We're now at Lake Wakatipu or Whakatipu, depending on who you ask. Yeah, we're about 10 kilometers away. We have around about 2 hours, so we should make it there without any dramas. Well, fingers crossed, hopefully no dramas. But coming down that hill and seeing the lake in the background, just absolutely phenomenal. The last 20 minutes or so have just been one of the highlights. So we're about to leave Mount Nicholas Farm. Actually, you can see Mount Nicholas right up there. So we'll leave Mount Nicholas Station and head to Walter Peak Farm. final sections from Mount Nicholas Station to Walter Peak Farm were the most dramatic and unforgettable, offering stunning landscapes and a true sense of achievement, the perfect way to end the Around the Mountains trail.
So we finally made it to the end of our trip. We're here at Walter Peak Farm. It was such an epic adventure. Just looking over here at the map, started down here in Mossburn. Last night we stayed up here at Mavora Lakes, and today all the way around through here via Mount Nicholas Station. Over 100 kilometers of cycling, and it was tough to say the least. It was absolutely one of the most, if not the most challenging cycling days I have ever had of my life today. But in saying that, it's also the most insanely beautiful cycling day I've ever had of my life. And Reese and I were talking it over, you know, with the headwinds that we were receiving from the north, and we were both saying, you know, it would have been a much easier trip if we did it the other way. However, I wouldn't have it any other way, because the views we got coming back down into this area here after our lunch break today, from then onwards, were absolutely stunning. And one of the coolest things is we had those tailwinds right at the end to push us over the finish line. So now we've got an hour to spare. What are we going to do, Reese?
Drink.
Drink. Cheers, bro. Well earned. So quick summary, Reese, what do you think?
Amazing.
Amazing. So you ready to do the Otago Rail Trail next week?
I need a couple of days.
Might be a while before we get on bikes again. Exactly. I actually think our timing is perfect. Woo! It does not feel like summer anymore. There's Reese's friend right down there. That was the other guy that came cycling with us. He was a real dick.
He's like, I'm not good at getting rid of bodies.
So our timing could not have been more perfect. We are on the TSS Earnshaw right now, just as it's starting to rain. Look at this. This here is the last remaining coal-fired passenger steamship in the Southern Hemisphere. It was built in 1912, and we are taking it back to Queenstown.
The perfect ending to such an epic adventure. Stay tuned for the next video as we gear up for an exciting summer in New Zealand's most popular mountain resort town, Queenstown.
Hey guys, just a quick message. We really hope you enjoyed this video. Many hours of work goes into every single video we make, and we try to make them to the very best of our ability.
We take the time to choose the best travel destinations and the best adventure activities so that we can provide you with top-tier content.
However, the only way our channel can grow is with your help. If you enjoy our videos, please leave a comment letting us know, along with any questions you may have, or if there's anything you'd like to see more of.
Interactions in the comments section, along with liking our videos, is what gets us exposure on YouTube, along with sharing this video. If there's anyone you think would enjoy our videos, please share and help us grow global travel stories. We thank you for your support.